The world surrounds us with noise, distractions, demands, and a constant struggle to gain control. Every single day we're hit by forces outside our reach, and we push ourselves trying to shape them to our will, but we never truly can. And here's the truth. Most people refuse to acknowledge the more you chase control, the deeper you sink into chaos, losing yourself in the process. But there is another path, a way out, a way to rise above the madness, and it begins with something simple, yet life-changing: detachment. Detachment doesn't mean escaping the world. It means taking command of your own mind, your emotions, and your actions. It's the essence of Stoicism, the reminder that real power doesn't come from controlling what's outside, but from mastering what's within. Imagine living a life where the storms around you no longer shake your peace, where chaos can scream, yet your mind stays still. That's what detachment gives you. This video isn't about surviving the chaos, it's about succeeding in it without letting it rule you. So if you're ready to break free from the endless battle for control and step into a life of true strength and clarity, if you want to begin your journey towards self-mastery, then make sure to subscribe. It's a step toward taking ownership of your life and shaping the future you want. You've probably spent years trying to control the world around you, just like everyone else. We try to control people, situations, careers, and circumstances. We grow up being told that if we're determined enough, we can force things to happen the way we want. But have you ever stopped to realize how much energy you waste trying to control things that never belong to you in the first place? The weather shifts whenever it wants, people behave in ways we can't predict, and life hits us with situations we never expected, no matter how perfectly we plan. We are fighting battles far bigger than us, and the more we try to control them, the more powerless we feel. This isn't some theory, this is the truth of life. And though it sounds harsh, it's also incredibly freeing. Because the only thing you'll ever truly control is yourself. Focus on what you can influence, rather than clinging to what will never listen to your demands. As Carl Jung said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." It's not about how tightly you try to control your surroundings, it's about how you respond to what's placed in front of you. Your reactions, your mindset, your choices. That's where your strength exists. Trying to manage everything outside of you only leads to frustration. You can't control people. You can't predict outcomes. You can't dictate the world. Yet we keep trying again and again, and it leaves us tired, doesn't it? You keep planning, stressing over the things you can't change, and all it gives you is anxiety and disappointment. You feel like you failed, even though failure was never yours to carry. The more you cling, the faster everything slips through your fingers. It's a losing game, but we keep playing because we've been taught that control equals safety. We believe that if we manage every detail, we can outrun pain, uncertainty, and disappointment. But the real secret is that peace comes only when you accept that some things will always be beyond you. So what can you control? Just one thing: yourself. And that is where real freedom begins. When you detach from the obsession to control everything, you finally release yourself from the anxiety that's been consuming you. Letting go isn't giving up, and it isn't weakness. It's choosing to stop fighting a current you can't change and deciding instead to swim with it. It's the wisdom to direct your energy toward what's truly yours to shape. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You don't need to wrestle with the world. You don't need to fight every situation hoping it bends in your favor. Instead, direct your effort inward. Command your thoughts, control your responses, master your inner world. When you do this, you stop being a victim of life and start becoming the creator of your own peace. Control is tempting. It gives the illusion of security. Like if you hold everything tightly enough, nothing can hurt you. But that's the trap. The more you grasp, the weaker you become, because life will always change. Plans will collapse, people will disappoint, and circumstances will shift in ways you never imagined. And when your illusion of control breaks, you fall with it. But Stoicism teaches something different. You don't have to be helpless when life doesn't follow your plan. You don't have to break when something changes. There is power in accepting what you can't control and putting your energy where it actually matters. Your mindset, your attitude, your decisions, that is real power. Once you understand that your need for control is what traps you, everything begins to shift. You stop chasing the impossible. You stop tying your peace to outcomes you can't dictate. You start fighting for something far more important, your inner calm. True strength is found in how you respond to life, not in how much you manipulate it. By letting go of the illusion of control, you reclaim the one thing you always had the ability to master yourself. And that is where real power begins. So how do you begin the journey of detachment? How do you free yourself from the urge to control the world around you? First, you must understand and accept that you cannot force everything to go your way. Second, you choose consciously to release what is not yours to control and focus on what is like your reactions and perspective. And third, you embrace the reality that uncertainty is not a threat, but a kind of freedom. You will never control every part of your life, but you can control how you live through it, and that is where peace grows. Let go. Stop fighting the impossible. Embrace uncertainty instead of fearing it. The world will stay unpredictable, chaotic, and uncontrollable, but you will not be ruled by it anymore. When your energy shifts from controlling the world to controlling yourself, you finally rise above the chaos. Letting go isn't weakness. It's your greatest strength and your first step toward true inner peace. Take command of your own mind and allow everything else to unfold as it must. Only when you release your grip on everything outside of you do you discover the peace you've been looking for all along. And this is where the real transformation begins. We all want to feel secure, don't we? It's human nature to want stability, a sense of control and predictability. So we cling, we attach ourselves to people, outcomes, and possessions, believing that these things will make us feel safe. But here's the painful truth. The more tightly we hold, the more we imprison ourselves. Attachments aren't anchors, they're chains. Chains that tie you to things that were never yours to command. When you attach yourself to a person or a specific outcome, you them control over your emotions. You place your peace, your joy, your stability in something fragile and temporary. And what happens when that thing changes, leaves, or fails to meet your expectations? You collapse with it. You feel betrayed, empty, or incomplete because a part of you was tied to something you could never control. This is the trap of attachment. We convince ourselves that holding on equals security, but the truth is the opposite. The tighter the grip, the greater the fear of losing it. That fear becomes your prison. But imagine this. Imagine living without the fear of loss. Imagine being at peace knowing that nothing and no one has the power to shatter your inner balance. That is the freedom found in letting go. When you release attachments, you become self-sufficient. Your strength comes from within, not from the world. You no longer depend on others or circumstances for your happiness. You stop expecting the world to match your desires. Instead, you build a peace that no external situation can take away. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving people. It doesn't mean you stop caring or stop pursuing your goals. It means you stop letting those things define your worth or your peace. You can love deeply without being dependent. You can chase success without letting it dictate your value. You learn to accept the flow of life, knowing that everything, no matter how beautiful or painful, is temporary. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This doesn't only apply to physical possessions, it applies to emotional ones too. The fewer attachments you cling to, the more emotional freedom you gain. Freedom from expectations, freedom from disappointment, and freedom from fear. Detachment allows you to experience life fully without being crushed by it. You stop reacting to every shift. Instead, you find balance and calm. At first, letting go feels strange, even scary, like you're losing something important. But over time, you realize you're gaining far more: your independence, your peace, your strength. You realize that you are enough on your own. Think about how much you've suffered because you wanted something to turn out a certain way. Think about how disappointed you felt when life didn't match your expectations. Now imagine how free you'd feel if you were no longer bound to those outcomes. If you could simply live, do your best, and let things unfold as they will. You'd be lighter, calmer, stronger. The results may not always be what you expect, but they won't have the power to destroy you. When you detach, you escape the need to control, and in that freedom you discover a deeper sense of security, not the fake stability that comes from holding on tightly, but the real unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can face anything. True security comes not from clinging, but from releasing. It's the understanding that life will change, people will change, situations will shift, but you will still be okay. And that's the beauty of letting go. It's not surrendering to chaos, it's rising above it. It's realizing that peace comes from within and not from controlling the world. It's about reclaiming your power, not by gripping tighter, but by loosening your hold. It's about trusting that life will unfold the way it's meant to, and believing that you can adapt, grow, and rise no matter what comes your way. As you begin to release the attachments you've clung to for so long, you'll feel something shifting inside you. A weight will lift. You'll feel lighter, freer, calmer. The chains that once tied you to certain outcomes, people, and possessions will start to dissolve, and you'll stand taller, stronger, more grounded than ever. You'll finally understand that you are not your attachments. You are not defined by what you own or who stays in your life. You are the one who can stand alone, unshaken by the chaos around you, and that is where your real strength lives. The journey of letting go isn't easy, but it's worth every step. It's a journey into yourself, a journey of regaining the power you lost and discovering a peace that comes from within. You begin to realize that the things you once depended on never truly defined you, and the moment you stop needing someone or something to feel whole, you unlock a level of freedom most people never experience, a freedom that cannot be bought or taken away. So as you let go, piece by piece, remember this: the more you release, the more life gives back to you. You gain clarity, you gain peace, you gain a strength that doesn't crumble when life shifts. And in the end, that is the greatest strength a person can have. It's not the ability to control the world, but the ability to remain steady no matter what the world throws at you. Letting go of attachment isn't just about releasing people or possessions. It's about releasing the need to control everything. It's about trusting yourself, trusting life, and knowing deep within that whatever comes, you can handle it. And that is true power. Detachment is often misunderstood. People see it as coldness, as though someone who practices it has shut down emotionally, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Detachment isn't about withdrawing from life or numbing your feelings. It's not about becoming distant or uncaring. In reality, detachment is one of the strongest forms of self-mastery. Detachment is the skill of moving through chaos with a steady heart. It's the ability to experience loss, betrayal, or hardship without letting it tear you apart. It's strength, not weakness. It's choosing where your emotional energy goes. It's understanding that you don't have to be dragged by every emotional storm that comes your way. Many people think detachment means not caring, but the truth is detachment means caring wisely. It means knowing not every situation, not every person, not every moment deserves a piece of your emotional world. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is the core of detachment, understanding that the world is uncontrollable, but you are not. You can choose your responses. You can choose your inner state. You can refuse to let anything that doesn't serve your peace take control of your mind. You rise above the noise and move through life with clarity while others drown in chaos. Think about how often we let other people's emotions, words, opinions, or mistakes control our mood. How many times have you allowed someone's behavior to shake you, steal your peace, or drain your energy? It's too easy to react instead of respond. But detachment stops that cycle. Detachment gives you the power to pause, to step back, and to choose instead of simply react. It's not emotional numbness, it's emotional intelligence. It's creating space between yourself and the world so you can think clearly and act with intention. And this isn't just an idea for philosophy books, it's a real strength in the real world. Life will hurt you, life will test you, people will disappoint you, plans will fall apart. But detachment is the skill that allows you to endure without breaking. When someone hurts you, you feel it, but you don't collapse. When life goes wrong, you don't lose yourself. Detachment means you experience emotions, but you don't let them define your choices. You acknowledge the pain, but you don't let the pain take control. That is mastery. Look at the people in your life who stay calm through everything, those who don't fall apart when chaos hits. They're not emotionless, they've simply... Detachment begins the moment you realize that you are whole on your own. You stop waiting for the world to validate you or complete you, and instead you find a quiet strength within yourself. From this inner clarity you face whatever life brings your way. Detachment is not about running from life, it is about engaging with life from a place of calm power and control. When you let go of the need to hold on to things you cannot control, you stop being at the mercy of life's chaos. Your peace is no longer tied to people, situations, or outcomes that can be taken away. It rises from within you, and because of that, it becomes unshakable. No matter what storm hits, you stand steady because your strength does not depend on the world. It comes from your own mind, your own discipline, and your own emotional mastery. This is the heart of detachment. It is not coldness, it is not weakness. It is the quiet power that allows you to stay grounded when everything around you is shifting. When you can observe your emotions without being consumed by them, you unlock a level of freedom that most people will never know. You feel everything, yet you are controlled by nothing. You respond with clarity, not chaos. You choose action over impulse. You choose strength over fear. This is emotional independence, the ability to rise above the storm, inside you, and act with intention. And once you master this, nothing in the world can break you. Life rarely follows our plans, and the truth is far harsher than we like to admit. Everything is temporary. The relationships you value, the goals you chase, and the victories you fight for are all temporary. People will enter your life, and eventually they will leave. Plans will collapse, and dreams will fade, because that is the nature of existence. Nothing stays the same. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you free yourself from the endless struggle to hold everything in place. Impermanence does not need to be feared. It can become your greatest freedom. Carl Jung understood the power in accepting change. He said the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. What he meant was simple. When you accept that life like you is always shifting, you stop resisting it. You stop trying to hold on to what is already slipping away. Instead, you learn to move with life, not against it. When you accept that everything changes, you finally allow yourself to live fully. You stop fighting what is inevitable. You let go of the need to control every outcome, and you embrace the natural flow of your existence. Most people live in constant anxiety, always scanning for what might go wrong, always planning for a moment that may never arrive. But no amount of preparation or control can stop the changes life will bring. Everyone faces loss, heartbreak, failure, and uncertainty. And every time life shifts, we act as though the entire world is collapsing. But the truth is that the world is not falling apart. It is simply moving, evolving, reshaping itself as it always has. Everything around you is in motion. When you accept this motion, you release yourself from fear and attachment. Change is not the enemy. Change is the river you must learn to ride. The current may lead you places you never expected, but fighting it does nothing except exhaust you. When you stop resisting, you discover that life is guiding you exactly where you need to be. This does not mean you should abandon your ambitions or ignore what matters to you. It means you understand that everything can shift at any moment, and when it does, you will still be okay. You no longer cling to the past or fear the future. You trust that what is meant for you will find you. Accepting impermanence allows you to live with greater depth. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or ideal conditions. You stop relying on external stability and start building internal stability. True stability comes from knowing that you can handle whatever happens. You are not defined by your circumstances, your achievements, or your failures. You are defined by the strength with which you meet them. The idea that nothing lasts forever may sound frightening, but it is the doorway to a richer life. When you accept that life is temporary, you stop gripping tightly to moments that cannot stay. You begin to savor them instead. The beauty of a moment lies in the fact that it does not last. You appreciate the present because you finally understand it is all you ever truly have. You no longer fear loss because you know it is natural. You no longer panic when things shift because you expect them to. Impermanence becomes an act of freedom. Not apathy, not indifference, but clarity. You still love deeply. You still dream boldly. But you do so with the understanding that everything is in motion. You cannot stop change, and you do not need to. What you can do is choose your response. When life transforms, you do not have to resist. You can accept, you can grieve, you can let go, and you can move forward. Every hardship passes, every season ends, every pain fades eventually. You emerge stronger, each time, because change forces you to grow. The secret to peace lies in shifting your perspective. Change is not evidence that you are failing, it is proof that you are evolving. When something breaks, it is not the end, it is the beginning of something new. When a plan fails, it creates the space for a better one. When someone leaves, it opens the door for someone meant to enter. When success fades, it reminds you that you are capable of creating success again whenever you choose. Impermanence frees you from the illusion that anything can last forever. You stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it. You live each moment fully without clinging to it. But how do you begin to accept this truth? It starts with presence. It begins with mindfulness, the practice of being here with what is instead of lost in what might be. When you understand that everything is fleeting, you experience life more deeply. You stop rushing. You stop trying to escape the moment. You let yourself feel everything without fear, knowing that every feeling will eventually pass. You release the need to control the world and trust the process of your own journey. You make peace with the fact that change is the only constant. When you start living with this understanding, your inner world begins to shift. You feel less anxious about the future and less burdened by the past. You become grounded in the present. You start noticing the beauty in small passing moments, the laughter shared with someone you love, the quiet mornings that feel like a breath of peace, the short-lived but unforgettable colors of a sunset. These moments become more meaningful when you accept their impermanence. You stop worrying about what you might lose and begin cherishing what is in front of you, knowing that everything will pass in its own time. In the end, the impermanence of life is not something to fear, it is something to embrace. It reminds you that everything is temporary and nothing is guaranteed. Within that truth you find peace. Peace that comes from knowing you can face whatever arrives. Peace that comes from trusting yourself to navigate change. Peace that rises from living fully and recognizing that every moment is precious. The world around you is chaotic. You can feel it every day. Distractions, frustrations, and the constant pull of events that sit far outside your control. It is easy to get swept up in the rush. It is easy to feel as if you are always trying to catch up with life. And that is exactly how most people live. They let the external world decide their pace, their mood, and even their sense of well-being. But here is the truth. You do not have to live like that. The world outside might be unpredictable, but there is one place where you can hold complete control, your inner world. Once you learn to master that, once you learn to control how you respond to life, you gain something rare. You gain peace, you gain clarity, you gain the ability to face anything without being shaken. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." His words point to a deeper reality. True mastery does not come from controlling everything outside yourself. It comes from understanding who you are and learning to move through chaos with purpose. It is not about influencing every event or altering every person around you. It is about choosing your response to them. This is the heart of real power, the power of inner control. When you learn to master your inner world, you stop being at the mercy of every external event. You stop being tossed around like a leaf carried by the wind. Instead, you become steady, grounded, and unshaken no matter what life brings. Trying to control the outside world is a losing battle. You cannot control the weather, the behavior of others, the economy, or the unexpected situations that appear without warning. These things lie beyond your reach, and the more you attempt to control them, the more energy you waste, and the more frustrated you become. But there is a different way, a better path. Instead of trying to control everything around you, place your focus on what you can influence: yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. That is where your true power lives. When you respond to life with calmness and clarity, you rise above the chaos. You begin to transcend it. The difference between someone who is overwhelmed by life, someone who remains steady under pressure, is simple. One person reacts to everything. The other has mastered the inner world. Life will not always unfold according to your expectations. People will disappoint you, plans will fail, unexpected setbacks will strike. Yet when you master your mind, you stop responding with impulsive emotion. You learn to pause, you learn to reflect, and you choose your next step with intention. This is where real strength is found. It is not about being unaffected by life, it is about remaining in control of how you respond to it. When you do this, you become unshakable. No matter the storm, you stand calm. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed or frustrated. Maybe it was a challenge at work. Maybe it was tension in a relationship. What did you do? Did you let those emotions take control, pushing you into anxiety or negativity? Or did you step back, breathe, and choose your response with intention? The ability to respond rather than react is the foundation of inner mastery. When you stop letting your emotions dictate your actions, you begin to live with clarity and purpose. You no longer allow external situations to cloud your judgment. You no longer let them steal your peace. This does not mean you will never feel sadness, anger, or frustration. These emotions are part of being human, but once you master your mind, you learn to process them in a healthy way. You do not suppress them, and you do not let them rule you. You acknowledge them and understand their source. Then you decide how to respond. This is real emotional freedom, not the absence of emotion, but the ability to experience emotion without surrendering control. When you master your inner world, you no longer live as a victim of your circumstances. You stop letting the world dictate your happiness. You create your own peace no matter what is happening around you. And this peace is not fragile. It does not depend on the weather, on the behavior of others, or on the success of your plans. It is deep, steady, and unshakable. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you have the strength to face it. You are in control. And that is where your real power lives. When we speak about mastery, we often imagine it as something external, something that requires bending the world to our will. But true mastery is internal. It means taking charge of your thoughts, your emotions, and your responses. It means becoming the kind of person who remains steady no matter what happens. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with intention. You stop wasting energy on what you cannot control and you invest that energy into what truly matters: your actions, your mindset, and your growth. Especially in a society obsessed with social media and external recognition, we are constantly told to measure our success by followers' likes or accolades. But what happens when that recognition fades? What happens when someone else takes the spotlight or a comment or like doesn't come? Suddenly we feel empty chasing the next form of validation. But when you stop depending on external approval, you start to realize your value does not change based on someone else's opinion. You begin living authentically with the freedom to be who you truly are without needing anyone to tell you that you're enough. One of the most liberating things you can do is to embrace the truth that you are worthy just as you are. You don't need to change yourself to fit someone else's standards. You don't need to alter your personality, your interests, or your values to gain approval. You are enough. And when you internalize that truth, the need for validation fades. You realize the only approval that truly matters is your own, and that approval comes from living with integrity, staying true to yourself, and acting in alignment with your values. When you no longer rely on external validation, you open space to focus on what truly matters. You stop wasting energy trying to fit someone else's mold. Instead, you focus on becoming your best self, grounded in self-love and self-respect. As you do this, you begin to attract the right people and opportunities, not because you are seeking their approval, but because you are being genuine. Living authentically draws the right energy to you. You no longer need to prove anything. Simply being who you are is enough. It is important to remember that breaking free from the need for validation does not mean becoming indifferent or isolating yourself. It means validating yourself first. It means building a sense of self-worth that no one else can define. This process is about reclaiming your power, your confidence, and your peace of mind. It is about living for yourself, not for the approval of others. When you do this, you begin a life that is truly fulfilling. Ask yourself, how much of your energy is spent seeking approval? How much of your worth is tied to what others think? The moment you decide to stop seeking validation, you step into your true power. You live for yourself, you find your worth within, and everything else falls into place. You are enough just as you are. Once you realize this, you will never need anyone else's approval again. You are free to live authentically, chase your dreams without fear, and build a life that is entirely your own. In a world that never stops, where distractions pull us in every direction, silence becomes more than absence of sound. It is a weapon. While the world shouts and demands attention, you have the power to remain still, to pause, and reclaim control. In the constant hustle, it is easy to get lost in chaos, feeling like you must keep up, keep talking, keep reacting. True power is not in constant motion. It comes from stepping back, observing, and deciding how to respond. Silence gives you that space. It is not withdrawing from life, it is choosing not to be swept away by it. In silence you find clarity, and in clarity, power. Most of the noise around us does not serve us. It distracts, confuses, and drains our energy. Silence reconnects you with your true self. It allows reflection without the clutter of external influence. When you choose silence, you step back from the noise and connect with stillness. This is where your power lies. In a world that demands attention, silence gives you space to think, reflect, and process without reacting impulsively. How often do we make decisions in the heat of the moment when emotions run high and the world around us is chaotic? Silence allows pause, breath, and clarity. In that stillness, you regain control of your thoughts and actions. You stop reacting impulsively and instead respond with intention and purpose. Silence is not only a tool for better decisions, it is a path to understanding yourself. In a world that constantly talks and pushes, it is easy to lose your own voice, your needs, and your desires. In quiet, you reconnect with yourself. You hear your own thoughts, reflect on your feelings and understand your goals. The noise of the world distracts from your path, but silence is where your truth emerges. It is where you connect with what truly matters. That connection is the key to real strength. In silence, you realize you do not need external validation or constant chatter. Much of life is spent trying to prove something to others, even to ourselves. But in silence, you understand you are enough. Why? You stop needing others' approval because you know your worth comes from within. Silence teaches that your strength is in who you are, not what you do or have. When you internalize this, you stop seeking approval from the world. You find your value inside yourself. Consider how often you get caught in life's noise, information, opinions, distractions. It feels like you must keep up, be in the know, always reacting. But how much of that actually serves you? How much brings peace or growth? Probably very little. Most of it adds confusion, stress, and chaos. Choosing silence creates space to filter out the noise and focus on what matters. It is where your true thoughts surface, your deepest insights rise, and decisions are made with clarity, not confusion. Silence forces you to slow down, to pause and reflect. In a world pushing constant motion, silence is the antidote. It is the pause that allows recharge, reset, and realignment with your values. Life rushes forward, but silence reminds you it is okay to stop, rest, and reflect on where you are, where you've been, and where you are going. Mastering the power of silence means the world no longer dictates your pace. You are no longer a slave to noise or distraction. Instead, you reclaim control over your time, energy, and focus. You make space for yourself to breathe, to think, and to act with intention. Silence does not mean inaction. It means choosing to operate from a place of clarity, power, and focus. It means taking time to reflect before reacting, pausing before speaking, and moving with purpose instead of being swept along by life's currents. In moments of stress, silence can be your greatest ally. When emotions run high and overwhelm creeps in, silence allows you to center yourself. It is the stillness that restores perspective and reminds you of what truly matters. When everything around you is chaotic, silence gives you a moment to ground yourself, and in that moment, you realize that the world does not control you. You have the power to remain calm, centered, and to respond with clarity. The power of silence is not about shutting out life. It is about creating a space within that is untouched by external noise. This power is not only peace of mind, it is strength. True strength is not reacting impulsively to everything life throws at you. It is choosing your response intentionally. T is standing firm in the face of challenges, knowing your inner world is stable, no matter what occurs outside. Silence helps build this strength. It allows you to reflect, recalibrate, and move forward with confidence. In stillness, you stop being controlled by external events and start controlling your own responses. When you master the power of silence, you stop chasing distractions, filling every moment with noise or activity. Quiet becomes your recharge, your reconnection, and a space where you make the most important decisions. Silence is where your power lies. It is in stillness that you hear your own voice, and that voice will guide you to your true path. Next, time chaos surrounds you. Remember the power of silence. It is not avoidance, it is moving through life with calm, clarity, and strength. When everyone else shouts, choose to remain still, to observe, and in that stillness, discover a power no noise can take away. Life will hurt, there is no way around it. Everyone faces loss, betrayal, and disappointment. There will be moments when the world feels like it is closing in. This is the part of the human experience we all share, unwanted yet inevitable. Here is the truth that many overlook. Pain does not have to break you. Pain can shape you, molding you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The difference between those who rise above and those crushed by life is not in avoiding pain but in responding to it. Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. The ability to turn pain into strength separates the weak from the strong. Our instinct is to avoid discomfort, to flee from emotional or physical suffering, but running from pain denies growth. When you detach from the need for comfort, you open yourself to new possibilities. Pain becomes a tool for transformation. True power lies in stepping into discomfort, facing life's hardest moments, knowing that you will emerge stronger. The moment you stop seeing pain as an enemy, you stop fearing it and begin using it as a stepping stone. Pain becomes an ally. Its power lies not in itself but in how you allow it to shape you. When you detach from the need for comfort, you embrace life's hard parts. Discomfort signals growth, not defeat. Reflect on times of difficulty, betrayal, or loss. Your first instinct may have been to retreat, to protect yourself, to avoid pain. But the more you run, the longer you remain trapped in it. Facing pain head-on transforms it into opportunity. Life's hardest moments teach the most. Embracing struggle builds resilience. Every fall becomes a lesson, every setback a chance to grow. Pain no longer intimidates, it propels you forward. Turning pain into strength is not ignoring it. It is acknowledging it, feeling it fully, and letting it fuel your evolution. Pain is part of the journey. Accept it, and you use it to advance. The more you embrace pain as natural, the more free you become. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a survivor. Each setback is a step toward the person you are meant to be. True strength is tested in adversity, not comfort. It is revealed when everything seems to collapse, when life feels unrelenting. Rising in those moments shows the power that has always been within. Pain does not have to weaken you, it can empower you. There is a deep, unspoken power in enduring life's trials without being destroyed. When you detach from the need for comfort, challenges no longer break you. Instead, you forge a stronger version of yourself. Pain becomes the forge you beck. Own the steel. The more you face fire, the more unbreakable you become. It is not avoiding difficulty but thriving within it. It is standing tall in the storm, knowing that no matter how fierce life's winds blow, you will not break. You do not have to face hardship alone, but you must rely on your own strength. You do not need others to validate, save, or fix you. Everything you need is already within. Each time you turn pain into strength, you tap into this inner power. You realize you are capable of far more than imagined. You see difficulties as opportunities to learn, evolve, and grow stronger. When you stop fearing pain, you see it for what it is, a teacher. Pain forces you to focus on what matters, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to invest energy in growth. Through this process, you gain the strength to face anything life presents. The next time pain arises, emotional, physical, or mental, remember, it does not define you. Only your response does. Pain can break you, but only if you let it. If you choose to use it as fuel, it transforms you into a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Each struggle becomes a lesson, each setback a step forward. Pain is not the enemy. It is a force that propels you toward greatness. Embrace it. Use it. Let it make you stronger. Life is not kind. Smooth roads are a rarity. Challenges and hardships will come, often unannounced. Resilience is not avoiding difficulties. It is how you respond. It is becoming so strong, so centered, that nothing can break you. Detaching from the need for comfort and control removes fear. You stand tall, knowing that no matter the blows, you will not be defeated. Resilience comes from bending without breaking. It is not what happens to you, but how you face it. It is choosing to keep moving even when life pulls in all directions. Strength is not innate, it is built daily. Each obstacle faced, each hardship endured, each refusal to give up adds to it. Most people fear hardship. It is painful. It tests worth, ability, and meaning. But accepting its inevitability is the first step toward mastering life's trials. When you embrace the reality that life will sometimes knock you down, you start to see hardship differently. Instead of viewing it as something meant to destroy you, you see it as something that can make you stronger. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to build resilience. Every setback a chance to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. This shift in perspective doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and practice. The more you detach from the need for comfort and control, the stronger your resilience becomes. You stop being a victim of circumstances and begin to become the architect of your own destiny. When life throws a curveball, you no longer crumble. You adjust, adapt, and keep moving forward. The more you detach, the more you realize that you are not defined by your circumstances, but by how you respond to them. You are defined by your ability to rise above, by your capacity to keep going. Resilience is not pretending everything is okay when it isn't. It is being honest about the challenges you face while remaining determined to move forward no matter how difficult the road appears. When you detach from the need for comfort, you stop relying on external factors to dictate your emotions. You stop needing perfection to feel at peace. Instead, you find peace within yourself, and that inner peace allows you to remain steady in the face of adversity. As you embrace this mindset, you'll notice that you not only become more resilient, but also more adaptable. Life is unpredictable. The world does not always bend to our expectations, yet resilience teaches us to move with it rather than against it. You become someone capable of facing anything with strength, knowing you can adapt, grow, and overcome. Challenges become less daunting because you understand that you have the power to respond with clarity and calm. One of the most powerful aspects of resilience is that it breaks the cycle of self-doubt and fear. When you stop trying to control everything outside yourself, you realize your capability to handle whatever comes. You stop questioning yourself and start trusting your ability to navigate hardships. Each challenge you overcome builds confidence and strengthens the belief that you are capable, strong, and unbreakable. Resilience is not just surviving, it is thriving. It is taking everything life throws at you and using it to forge a stronger, more focused version of yourself. It's easy to let setbacks define you, to allow hardship to convince you that you are not strong enough. But resilience changes that perspective. When you detach from the need for comfort and control, you see challenges as opportunities to test limits, prove strength, and discover your true capacity. With each victory over adversity, you reinforce the belief that you can endure anything. Resilience is not avoiding pain or hardship, it is facing them head-on with courage and determination. Life will always present challenges, but how you respond defines you. Resilience is the foundation for personal growth, strength, and the courage to keep moving forward. When you stop fearing hardship and discomfort, you step into true power. You understand that no matter what life throws, you will not break. You will stand tall, adapt, and keep moving. This is resilience. It is not merely surviving storms. It is using them to strengthen your inner foundation. It is trusting yourself to navigate adversity, growing stronger with each challenge. The more you practice detachment, the more you realize your capability. You are the architect of your own destiny, and resilience is the foundation for a life of strength, power, and unshakable confidence. In a world that constantly pushes for connection, attention, and social presence, solitude is often misunderstood. People fear being alone, thinking it signals inadequacy or loneliness. In reality, solitude is not weakness, it is power. In quiet moments away from the distractions and noise, you have the chance to reconnect with yourself. Solitude is a space to reflect, think clearly, and hear your own thoughts without external interference. When you learn to embrace solitude and enjoy your own company, you realize that you do not need others to complete you. You are whole within yourself. In that wholeness, you find clarity, strength, and purpose that cannot be found in constant social engagement. Solitude reveals your true nature, free from societal pressures and expectations. Alone you confront yourself and encounter the opportunity for growth. Solitude is not emptiness, it is profound self-discovery and strength. Many believe they need thirst to feel validated or fulfilled. Yet, the ability to be alone without feeling lonely signifies emotional maturity and inner power. When you enjoy your own company and are at peace in your own skin, you tap into a reservoir of clarity and strength that anchors you in life, no matter what comes your way. You unlock a freedom that few ever experience. You stop depending on external validation and start realizing that your worth is not tied to the opinions or presence of others. You are complete in yourself. The more you embrace solitude, the more you realize that you are your own best companion. You learn to trust yourself, to find joy in your own thoughts, and to cultivate a deeper sense of peace that doesn't rely on anyone else. Solitude is not just about being alone, it's about being at peace with that aloneness. It's about removing the noise, both external and internal, and creating space for your true self to emerge. We live in a world constantly demanding our attention through social media, work, or the expectations of others. The noise is relentless. But in solitude, you can silence it and focus on what truly matters: your own mind, your own heart, your own path. In that silence you hear your own voice clearly, and in hearing it you discover your purpose, your direction, and your strength. At first, being alone can feel uncomfortable. We're not used to it. We are taught from a young age that social connection is the key to happiness, that we need others to fill some imagined void. Solitude teaches us the void doesn't exist. It's a construct. When we allow ourselves to sit with our thoughts without rushing to fill the silence with distractions or the company of others, we realize that we are enough as we are. We don't need anyone else to complete us. We are whole within ourselves. And in that realization, we find a sense of peace that transcends the constant need for validation or approval from others. In solitude, we also find clarity. How often do we move through life so caught up in noise, in routines, in the demands of others, that we lose sight of what we truly want? In the quiet of our own thoughts, we can reconnect with our goals, our desires, and our values. We can reassess where we are in life and where we want to go. Solitude is the space where we can ask ourselves the hard questions and confront the answers without distraction or fear. It's in this space that we find clarity, the ability to make better decisions, to realign with our purpose, and to move forward with confidence. Solitude also builds resilience. When we learn to be alone, we learn to stand on our own 2 feet. We stop relying on others for our sense of security and instead cultivate our own inner strength. The more time we spend in solitude, the more we realize that we can handle whatever life throws at us. We become less dependent on external circumstances and more rooted in our own ability to navigate life's challenges. In solitude, we learn that we are capable, strong, and resilient. We become our own source of support, and in doing so, unshakable in the face of adversity. This doesn't mean isolating ourselves or rejecting meaningful relationships. It means finding a balance between connection with others and connection with ourselves. We need to prioritize time alone, to recharge, to reflect, and to grow. Embracing solitude cultivates a deeper relationship with ourselves, which strengthens our relationships with others. We become more present, focused, and emotionally available, no longer seeking validation to fill an emptiness we've been taught to fear. Instead, we are complete as we are. Embracing solitude is a practice of tuning out the noise, being present with yourself, and learning to trust your own strength and wisdom. It's a practice of letting go of the fear of loneliness and finding peace in being alone with your thoughts. When you embrace solitude, you realize that the greatest source of fulfillment and strength is not found in external circumstances. It is within you, but in the depth of your own mind and heart. It's in those quiet moments when you are alone that you reconnect with your true essence and discover the power that lies within you. So the next time you find yourself overwhelmed by the noise of the world, take a step back, embrace the silence, let go of the fear of being alone, and allow yourself the time and space to reconnect with yourself. In that solitude, you'll find the clarity, strength, and purpose you've been searching for. You'll realize that you are enough just as you are, and that in your aloneness, you are not lonely, you are powerful. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, from the constant buzz of notifications to the endless pressure to fit in. It's easy to get lost in the noise. We're bombarded with so many opinions, trends, and expectations that it can feel nearly impossible to figure out what truly matters. We chase what's popular, what others say we should want, all while losing sight of what brings true fulfillment. But when you detach from everything that doesn't serve you, something incredible happens. The distractions begin to fade, and you're left with clarity. What was once clouded becomes clear. You start to see what truly matters: your mind, your actions, your purpose. The world's noise no longer drowns out your inner voice. You can hear yourself again, and it's in that silence, that stillness, that you rediscover what truly fulfills you. When you begin to strip away the layers of distraction, the superficial desires, the empty pursuits, the things you thought would make you happy, you start to see yourself more clearly. You begin to reconnect with your own values, your own goals, and your own purpose. The noise that once consumed you becomes nothing more than background chatter, no longer able to drown out the voice that tells you what's important. It's easy to get caught up in the rat race, constantly chasing the next thing, always thinking happiness lies just a little further ahead. Society tells us we need more money, more success, more recognition, but when you stop and take a step back, you realize that none of these things bring lasting fulfillment. True fulfillment comes from within. It comes from living a life in alignment with your values and purpose, not one driven by the expectations or demands of others. When you detach from the need for external validation, you give yourself the freedom to focus on what truly elevates you. This is where the power of discernment comes in. Discernment is the ability to recognize what is truly valuable and worth your time, energy, and attention. It's about making conscious choices to focus on what brings growth, peace, and meaning. Without discernment, it's easy to waste your life chasing things that don't matter: temporary pleasures, superficial achievements, or the approval of others. But when you begin to detach, you stop wasting time on what doesn't serve your purpose and start investing in what truly contributes to your well-being and personal growth. You align your actions with your values, and in doing so, create a life that is purposeful and fulfilling. The more you detach from the noise, the more you begin to see what is essential. You realize that happiness doesn't come from accumulating more things or pleasing more people. It comes from within. It comes from living authentically, being true to yourself, and making choices that reflect your real values. The superficial desires that once seemed so important lose their grip on you. You stop chasing the empty promises of the world and start focusing on what really matters: your relationships, your growth, your sense of purpose. In doing so, you create a life that is deeply fulfilling, a life that is truly your own. One of the greatest gifts of detachment is the ability to focus in a world full of distractions. It's easy to get overwhelmed by all that demands your attention, but when you detach from what doesn't serve you, you create space for focus. You stop spreading yourself too thin, trying to please everyone or meet every expectation. Instead, you zero in on what's truly important. You become intentional with your time and energy, and in doing so, accomplish more of what matters. You invest in what truly elevates you rather than wasting energy on things that only drain you. This process of discernment isn't always easy. It requires an honest look at your life, your choices, and the things you've been giving your time and energy to. Are they helping you grow, bringing you closer to your goals, or are they distractions? In some cases, you might have to let go of things you once thought were important, relationships, jobs, or even habits that no longer serve your higher purpose. This can be difficult, but it's also incredibly liberating. As you shed the unnecessary, you make space for the meaningful. As you focus on what truly matters, you build a life aligned with your values and vision for the future. The power of detachment isn't about escaping the world, it's about engaging with it mindfully. It's about reclaiming your power and choosing what you want to invest your time and energy in. It's about understanding that not everything deserves your attention, and that true fulfillment comes from focusing on what aligns with your purpose. When you live with discernment, you stop reacting to the demands of the world and start proactively creating a life that reflects who you truly are. You stop letting external circumstances dictate your emotions and begin living from a place of internal strength and clarity. As you embrace detachment and discernment, your life becomes more meaningful, purposeful, and aligned with your true self. You stop chasing empty achievements and start investing in what brings joy and fulfillment. You build deeper, more authentic relationships and create a life that reflects your values and passions. In the end, it's not about having more, it's about having what truly matters. That is where true fulfillment lies. So the next time you're caught in life's distractions, take a step back and ask, what truly matters? What deserves my time, energy, and attention? Detach from the noise and focus on what brings fulfillment. You'll start to see that what truly matters has always been within reach. It's not about having more, it's about having what is essential. In that, you will find purpose, peace, and true fulfillment. Failure is inevitable. It's not a question of if, but when. No one goes through life without setbacks, mistakes, or disappointments. For many, failure is one of the most terrifying experiences we face. We spend so much time trying to avoid it, fearing that one mistake will define us forever. But here's the truth. Failure doesn't define you. What defines you is how you respond to it, the way you rise after falling, the lessons you learn, and the resilience you build along the way. When you detach from the fear of failure, you free yourself from its grip. You stop seeing failure as something to avoid at all costs and begin to see it for what it really is, an opportunity to learn, grow, and become better. In this process, failure no longer owns you. You are free to fail, learn, and rise again stronger and more capable than before. Failure is just an event, a moment in time. What happens next, how you respond, determines who you are and who you will become. When we allow failure to define us, we become trapped by it. We let it shape our identity and sense of worth. But when we detach from that fear, when we stop letting failure control us, we regain the power to choose our response. We can use failure as a stepping stone, an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser with every setback. The key to overcoming failure isn't avoiding it, it's embracing it, learning from it, and moving forward. Think about the last time you failed. It might have been big or small, but in that moment it probably felt like the world was crashing down. It's easy to be consumed by fear, shame, or regret. We might want to hide, pretend it never happened, or give up altogether. But those feelings, as intense as they are, don't last forever. In fact, they are often the catalysts for growth. When you detach from the fear of failure, you give yourself the space to process your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. You learn to look at failure objectively, seeing it not as an endpoint, but as part of the journey. From this perspective, failure is no longer the enemy. It's feedback, information that tells you what doesn't work, so you can try a different approach, learn something new, and keep moving forward. The fear of failure keeps us stuck. It makes us hesitate, second-guess ourselves, and procrastinate on taking risks. But the truth is, the only way to succeed is to fail. It's through failure that we learn, adapt, and improve. Every successful Person has faced countless failures before reaching their goals. What sets them apart is their ability to keep going, to learn from mistakes, and to rise each time they fall. When you detach from that fear, you stop allowing it to paralyze you. You stop seeing failure as something that defines you, and instead begin to see it as something that refines you. It's not about being perfect or avoiding mistakes. It's about using each failure as a lesson that makes you stronger and more capable. The more you embrace this mindset, the more resilient you become. You begin to approach life with confidence, knowing that even when you fail, you will rise again. Each failure becomes a stepping stone, each setback a lesson, and with every lesson learned, you grow more capable of facing whatever comes your way. This doesn't mean failure is easy or painless. It's natural to feel discouraged, frustrated, or upset when things don't go as planned. The key is not to let those feelings keep you down. When you detach from failure, you give yourself permission to feel those emotions without letting them control you. You acknowledge disappointment, but don't let it define your future. You let it pass and move on. You don't dwell on failures or let them become your story. Instead, you turn them into fuel for growth. In moments of failure, we truly learn about ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, our perseverance, and our ability to adapt. Failure teaches humility, patience, and resilience. It shows us that success isn't about getting everything right. It's about learning from mistakes, adjusting our course, and trying again. Without failure, there is no growth. The more we embrace this truth, the more we can succeed, not just in careers or goals, but in life. Often the fear of failure comes from perfectionism, the desire to get everything right, to avoid mistakes at all costs. But perfection doesn't exist. Chasing it only leads to frustration and self-doubt. Detaching from the need to be perfect allows you to embrace failure as a natural and necessary part of growth. It frees you to take risks, try new things, and make mistakes without fearing they will ruin you. Perfectionism keeps us locked in a cycle of anxiety and self-criticism, but when we let go of it, we give ourselves freedom, the freedom to fail, and more importantly, to learn and improve. The art of detaching from failure is about changing perspective. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning to rise stronger each time you fall. It's about understanding that failure is not an endpoint, but a part of the process. When you detach from the fear of failure, you free yourself from its limitations. You stop letting failure define your worth and start using it as a tool to fuel growth. With each setback, you become more resilient, more capable, and more confident. This is the true power of failure, the power to transform, adapt, and rise stronger than ever before. Freedom is something we all seek, yet many of us misunderstand it. We often think of freedom as having everything go our way, controlling every aspect of life, bending the world to our will. But true freedom isn't control, it's letting go of the need to control everything. When you stop chasing the illusion of control, you experience freedom that goes deeper than anything external. Freedom isn't about having life unfold exactly as you expect. It's about being at peace with whatever comes your way. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to adapt, to grow, and to keep moving forward. In that power, you find true freedom. To accept yourself fully is to let go of the need for validation, to stop trying to control every outcome, and to embrace life as it comes. You stop being a slave to circumstances, external expectations, or the pressure to be something you're not. Instead, you begin to live on your own terms. You learn to trust yourself, to be at peace with uncertainty, and to know that you can handle whatever life throws your way. In the modern world, we're taught to chase control, from careers to relationships, from appearances to social approval. We're often told we need to manage it all, sometimes to the point of losing ourselves in the process. But the more we chase control, the more enslaved we become. We exhaust ourselves trying to micromanage every detail, believing that getting everything right will bring happiness. True freedom doesn't come from control. It comes from acceptance. Acceptance of ourselves, of what we cannot change, and of the unknowns that lie ahead. The moment we stop fighting life, we begin to experience a freedom that doesn't rely on perfect circumstances or fixed outcomes. It's freedom from anxiety, self-doubt, and the need for external approval. When you detach from control, you stop living in reaction to life. You stop being at the mercy of what's happening around you. You start living intentionally, grounded in your own values and purpose. This doesn't mean life will always be easy or go your way. Challenges will come, unexpected changes will happen, and things won't always turn out as planned. But when you stop clinging to control, you find peace amidst it all. You stop resisting life's natural flow and instead move with it. You adapt, you grow, you keep moving forward, and that is freedom, the freedom to live fully no matter what. One of the most powerful aspects of true freedom is adaptability. Life is unpredictable. The more we try to control it, the more frustrated we become when things don't go our way. But when you embrace that you can't control everything, you start to see life differently. Real power doesn't lie in controlling the external world. It lies in your ability to adapt. You learn that no matter what life throws at you, you have the strength to navigate it, find solutions, and keep going. This adaptability is the cornerstone of freedom. The more you accept life's constant change, the more you free yourself from the pressure to control it. This is where true peace comes in. When you stop chasing control, you stop worrying about what ifs and what should. You stop fearing what might go wrong because you trust your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This sense of inner peace allows you to live freely. You no longer fear the unknown or failure. Instead, you approach life with curiosity, knowing that every experience, good or bad, is a chance to learn and grow. You become less focused on the outcome and more invested in the journey, trusting that no matter what happens, you will handle it. When you live from a place of inner peace and acceptance, you stop being a slave to other people's expectations. So much of our lives are shaped by what others think, want, or expect. But when you free yourself from the need for external validation, you begin to live on your own terms. You stop seeking approval and start making decisions based on what is best for you. This is the ultimate freedom, the ability to live authentically, to follow your own path, and to make choices that reflect who you truly are. This freedom doesn't mean detaching from life or the people in it. On the contrary, it means engaging with life on your terms. You stop reacting and start acting. You take responsibility for your own growth, happiness, and success. You stop waiting for life to fall into place and start creating the life you want. You become the architect of your own destiny, and in that you discover deep satisfaction and fulfillment. Freedom also comes from letting go of perfection. Many of us are trapped by the fear of failure or the need to get everything right. We try to control every aspect of life to avoid mistakes. But true freedom comes when we accept imperfection, when we understand that mistakes are part of the process. Life is not about perfection, it is about growth. Each failure is a lesson, every setback an opportunity. With this mindset, possibilities become limitless. Creating a life of freedom is ultimately about perspective. You determine your path. You choose to live for yourself, not for others or external expectations. When you stop chasing control, you are no longer held hostage by life's unpredictability. You embrace it, opening the door to a deeper freedom, the freedom to live fully, authentically, and on your terms. This freedom brings peace, joy, and fulfillment. Once you understand it, life no longer controls you. You control how you respond to it. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many see as turning away from life, but in truth, it is about freeing yourself from life's grip. It is about gaining mastery over your mind, your emotions, and your responses. When you detach, the chaos of the world no longer controls you. You become unshaken, untouchable, and unbroken. The power of detachment is this: you stop being a victim of circumstances and become the master of your own destiny. As Carl Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Detachment is about looking within for the strength and clarity to navigate the chaos outside. When you detach from external distractions, you connect deeply with your inner world. In that connection, you remain calm amidst life's storms. You become the stillness at the center of chaos. Life is unpredictable. Pressures, changes, and challenges are constant. But when you learn to detach, you stop being swept away by forces beyond your control. You realize that no matter how chaotic life gets, you have the power to control your response. Detachment is not ignoring reality, it is choosing how to engage with it. You stop reacting with fear, frustration, or helplessness. Instead, you face challenges with a calm, clear mind, knowing you are in control of your own responses. The more you practice detachment, the more you see that nothing external can dictate your emotional state. You no longer rely on validation, approval, or outcomes to feel worthy. You derive strength and value from within. This is true power, the ability to remain grounded in yourself, unaffected by the chaos outside. This mastery over your inner world is the key to shaping your destiny. Life will throw challenges, setbacks, and obstacles. But the more you detach from the need for control, the less these challenges affect you. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to grow. You learn to adapt, adjust, and keep moving forward. You become like a tree in the storm, standing tall, strong, and unbroken, no matter how fierce the wind blows. You are untouchable, not because the world is calm, but because your mind is. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. You care deeply, but your emotional well-being no longer depends on others. You love without attachment, work without expectation, and give without need. Your peace becomes a shield against life's challenges. As you detach from the need for control, you discover the freedom to live intentionally, make decisions that reflect your true self, and become the author of your own story. The freedom of detachment is liberating. You live according to your values, your purpose, and your vision. You stop chasing approval and the illusion of control. You are free from fear, from pressure, from the constant need to manage life. You embrace uncertainty with confidence and strength. The more you detach, the stronger you become. You are unshaken, you are resilient, you are untouchable. Master your inner world, and you master life. Control your responses, not the world. Weather every storm with grace and strength. This is the true power of detachment, the power to live on your own terms, free from the grip of the world. Remember, the power lies within you. Detach from what no longer serves you and embrace the freedom to live intentionally, authentically, and fully. Life will challenge you, but when you stand firm in your own strength, nothing can break you. If you found this video helpful, check out the next one on the screen. Keep growing. Keep evolving. Stay untouchable.